The other day, I went to the theater and I saw Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the second installment to the Into the Spider-Verse saga, and I have to say, it was absolutely amazing. As I was going through the film, I realized that there is a lot of use of, you know, new art and new style frames within the film, a lot of new kind of like art directions. And I don't know, after I got out of the theater, I just felt absolutely inspired. So today we are going to be attempting to create a movie poster for Across the Spider-Verse, except for it's all going to be upside down. Please try your absolute best to not laugh at me. Thank you. Let's just get right into it. So right off the rip, I'm definitely 100% nervous to even get into this design because the Spider-Verse art style is already so hard to replicate. Just so you guys understand how the process works, I'm going to be designing upside down, which means all of the assets that I put into this actual Photoshop document need to be inverted backwards or upside down or something crazy like that. So I simply do not know what direction I'm designing in. And then at the very end of the video, we're going to flip it and see how well I did. This is just going to be absolutely difficult. And luckily, these are, you know, just normal geometric shapes, so we don't have to tell if they're upside down right off the rip. But when we get to the characters, oh, that's going to be a pain. That is going to be a real pain. Time to add our subject, aka Miles Morales himself. But now this is where it gets tricky, y'all, because we have to insert Miles into the overall poster, but we have to flip him because remember, we're doing this upside down. This is extremely hard to look at, by the way. This is extremely hard to look at, but we are trying our best here. We are trying our best. I wonder if I should take inspiration from the first Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse poster, the one that has kind of like a city outline of Brooklyn. But see, now we have to size it up and work upside down, which is going to be very tricky. I hate this new Photoshop update because if you have dark mode, like you can barely even see the adjustment layers. Try to distinguish anything here on the adjustments panel. I dare you. I just can't see this like composition working out, but we're trying it. So I went on Envato Elements and I found a train that I want to use for my scene. I don't know if this is really going to be HD enough, but we're going to see. Can I envision this upside down? My plan is to have Spider-Man 2099 and Miles Morales fighting on the train, so that'll be pretty cool. I have like a pre-made render that I'm going to use for this. A lot of this needs to be very silhouette-like, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and add the 3D render I did in Blender onto the train. I couldn't find any custom images of Miles Morales and, you know, Spider-Man 2099, so please don't roast me. Like, what is this? But luckily, it should be good enough because they really are just going to be like small figures battling on a train. I think I want to try a pretty cool motion blur effect that I saw in one of the posters. So yes, see, this would be pretty fire if we just barely had it motion blurred and then we had the gradient map on top of it. I want to go ahead and add a little bit of contrast to these like trains. They look kind of cartoon-like, so I need to overall kind of maybe hop in camera raw and just give them a ton of texture and see what happens. I do think that there needs to be some added depth of field and overall just kind of, you know, perspective on this in general, so I'm just going to duplicate this and kind of put the train in its own little lane here, as you guys can see. And that's a matter of fact, we probably could even get away with adding even more motion blur and kind of using these more as a light leak. I don't really know what's happening, but we're trying it out. Filter gallery can also help, especially since this is the Spider-Verse world. So why don't we play around with some of the line art ideas? I actually just got a massive idea. I was just messing around in filter gallery and I saw a halftone filter. So I wonder if I duplicate the train layer, add the halftone on top of the train layer, and then like mess around with blending modes. I wonder if that can give us like a really nice looking halftone look. See, we can now go to blending modes and change it to like green, and then we could lower it a little bit, and that kind of gives us an idea of a little halftone pattern for the train, which might be actually really big for the program. I did just realize that it just naturally gave us that blue tint that we're looking for, like in the movie scene. I really want to add a lot of, you know, motion blur to the train as well, because I also feel like that is a necessity when you are working with Spider-Verse type attributes. I'm personally liking this a lot. Is it better than what the Spider-Verse people probably have cooking up? Absolutely not. I think the Spider-Verse team is absolutely insane. You very rarely see like a lot of soft outlines around the characters when they are in heavy lit scenes. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and push that idea. Just add some harsh highlighting around Miles and see if he can actually, you know, start blending into the scene a little bit more. I think the best thing we could do for this is overall create a white outline behind Miles and then just kind of like create clipping masks where things should be colored and then go back through and kind of fade it. So you guys will see what I mean. So he is in like the orange here. Put some purple here. He goes back into the white there. Perfect. And then now it's like kind of pinkish here. We go ahead and we put a mask on the original highlight, and then we lower the hardness, lower the flow, and then we go absolutely ham on fading this out just slightly. It probably can be done with other effects and filters, but this is just personally how I know how to do it. I can't tell if it actually looks good or not. Designing upside down is it's so infuriating. When I spat the video idea out loud, I didn't expect it to be difficult, but now I'm here in the trenches and I'm absolutely suffocating. I think the next step is going to be to add the logo on top of Miles Morales, just so we have like a placement reference, because obviously this isn't going to work unless we actually purposefully make it upside down. Oh my, this is gonna look absolutely atrocious. I do think there needs to be a little bit more depth between the city and Miles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to duplicate the city and put it on top of Miles Morales, and then just kind of do some erasing. We want Miles to be like in it, but not in it, if that makes sense. Actually, that doesn't make any sense. What am I even talking about? Also, where did our characters go? Time to search for them in the layers panel. I found them, guys. I found them. They're right here. Relax. It's okay. They're safe. Right off the rip, I'm noticing that the poster is a little bit plain, so I'm actually going to add some webs. And I found the perfect cutout to do so. This, believe it or not, was a little style frame taken from the train scene from the trailer. See, this web looks like it could be a little bit better, especially since we're working in such a confined space. So let's go ahead and try that one out. What if we made it look like he was just about to grab it? That might be a good idea. Let's see. Would it look good though? What? I can't tell. I can't tell. We'll focus a little bit more on like the webs and stuff at a different time. Let's just go ahead and focus on the halftones and see what we can do. Okay, so I got myself a really nice halftone pattern I found from the internet, and we're just going to overall experiment with it. Ooh, I kind of like that. That like kind of grayish. Oh, we could definitely do something with this. I like how it's gray, but a little bit more like in color as it goes down. Okay, and now my idea is as follows. We add the halftone that has the circles filled in at the bottom. It's kind of like a little inverse type of thing, if that makes sense. I just remembered that I have these kind of like brush-like assets that are kind of like bars, so to speak. This is going to create a really, really cool look if we were to like space these out and kind of just put them everywhere across the artwork and see what happens. See, that could be really cool. Let's see what happens when we do that. And then we could add some motion blur onto this bad boy and absolutely be home free, because it'll look like little rays coming up from the lighting, which will be really fire. I genuinely have no clue what to even do next. I am lost. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Now this whole section here with like the train and all of that just looks a little bit too staticky to me. So I think a play here is going to be to group all of these together and create some shading on top of the structure and see what happens. Now, I'm kind of tempted to see what it would look like if I added some motion blur to the Spider-Verse logo. Oof, kind of like it. It might be a little bit too much, especially since there's like a lot of vertical lines, but I mean, what can you do? I think maybe one of the next steps I want to actually do is add some of the spider characters. First up is Gwen, and we don't want her to be like all inverted. So we want her to definitely be more in the backing, just slightly, and we could definitely expand this part of her web. So I'm actually excited to see what that looks like. That works. I like that. That's not too bad. It definitely adds like a little bit more to it as well, which is really nice. And then we could add some haze lighting to Gwen to kind of blend her into the backing a little bit. That's what I love the most about the Spider-Verse overall visuals, is the fact that they are so colorful that you really can't go wrong with blending things and stuff. It will always look pretty decent. Perfect. Without further ado, I think it's finally time to add Spider-Man 2099, and we're getting to the point where we can flip this and see what it looks like. I'm so stoked. Okay, so I did a lot of searching and I could not find a good image of Spider-Man 2099 for the sake of time, so we are just going to be going with the normal Peter Parker, and I definitely think this is a good decision too. I think it'll also add a lot more to our composition as well, even though his lighting is definitely a little bit odd. There definitely needs to be some haze lighting going on to overall focus on perspective, so let's do a little bit of that real quick. It's looking really good, at least from the upside down angle. Whew, that CC did a lot. Let's go ahead and add some chromatic aberration, and then it's finally time for the flip reveal. Camera is done. Chromatic aberration is done. Poster is done. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and flip it and see what it looks like. I completely designed this upside down, so I have no idea what to expect. Please do not roast me too hard. I mean, it's not terrible, okay? It's not terrible. I definitely see a lot of things I could have done better here. For example, the whites here definitely could be brought down a little bit more. There could be a lot of texture on the train. We actually didn't do that bad for completely designing it upside down. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just overall fine tune it based off of it sitting upright. And we're going to compare the two, which is going to be super cool. Okie dokie, I went ahead and I fine tuned a little bit of the poster. Basically just kind of showcasing what I would do if I didn't have to design it upside down in the small time period that I had. Let me know which one is your guys' favorite, ultimately. I had so much fun designing these posters, and I think both of them came out pretty good considering the challenge in the middle of all of it. And seriously, if you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse yet, definitely go see it in theaters because it is by far one of the most visually stunning movies I have ever seen. But without further ado, that's going to be it for me this week. If you guys want to unravel 6 graphic design trends that are absolutely popping off right now in the year 2023, definitely go ahead and check out this video. It's going to be, you know, on your screen right now, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed the Spider-Verse posters, and without further ado, this has been Frostify. I will see you guys next Friday with a brand new YouTube video. Peace out.